It's time to get real. Oh yeah. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Did I say Happy New Year? Happy New Year. It's time to get some answers, baby. Happy New Year. Now, time to get. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to 2026. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington, 2026. And we're going to start off 2026 streamlining all of it. If you've been listening to me over the years, what is it, 15 years now? Happiness Specialist, what the hell is this show even about? This is about how to experience more happiness while on this journey called life. And when I say happiness, I'm not talking about something happens and now I'm happy. No, it's about how to maintain and sustain a personal vibration, a personal energy of contentment, of peace, of satisfaction, of balance, of awareness, of consciousness. How do you experience more of this energy called contentment? Is it even possible? And the answer is yes. Happiness is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. The energy of contentment is also a practice. And what do you practice? You practice putting a spotlight on and eliminating all of the programmed behaviors. It's not the event, it's not the experience, it's not life that is bringing the unhappiness. It is the perspective, it is the stories attached to what happens. And so what this show does and what I do for the last 400 decades is to share with you what I practice. And in fact, my latest book, it's called Programmed for Unhappiness. And in this book, it's on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 programmed behaviors, programmed for unhappiness, programmed for misery, programmed to complain, programmed to have expectations, programmed to compare, programmed to worry, programmed to a need to be right. The list of program behaviors just goes on and on and on. Also in this book, I list 26 behaviors that add to your happiness. So when I say happiness, it is a practice of how do you maintain contentment. I don't you know what's going on in the world. I know what's going on in the world. Is it possible to even be focused? Is it even possible? It doesn't even make sense. Your energy, your vibration is your contribution to this planet. So when you're anxious, sad, angry, disappointed, depressed, all of it, that is your contribution. Your energy is your contribution. And that's why I choose, scratch that. I practice choosing peace over drama in all moments. Today, we're going to talk about the ultimate practice, because when I say happiness is a practice skill, what is the ultimate practice? And it's 2026 now. I've been on this work, researching, discovering the answers. When I say the answers, I'm talking about the truth, and the truth about this life, and the truth about this journey, which is which is it is the universe, it is God having an experience through each and every one of us. This isn't a personal human experience. This is a spiritual, conscious experience in a human body. And the practice gets even deeper. How do I start? Let's start with the stories and the thoughts and the stories that are endless. In any single moment, I am either identifying with what the mind says, I have my headband on here. It's 58 degrees in the house. It's a little cold. Anyway, looking crazy as ever. The practice is to stay in the space of awareness and practice identifying with awareness, with presence, as opposed to identifying with the thoughts and the mind and the stories, as opposed to identifying with all of it that's going on in here. It's identifying with God, universe, awareness, presence, source itself. And when I practice identifying as the presence as opposed to all of this other, the programming of constant chatter, the programming of theory, analyzing, going over and over and over, making a conclusion, making a judgment. All of that is program behavior. And let me just back up just a little bit. You can only see and only experience what you have been programmed to believe about self, about this life. And when I talk about the program, it is really getting deeper to a place where it is beyond the mind, beyond the stories. It is a place of transcending to the ultimate peace. When I talk about practice, it is a practice to identify with awareness. It is a practice to identify with source, with the creator. It is a practice. And the practice comes with always, without exception, being mindful of behaviors, being mindful of words, being mindful of what is spoken, being aware and mindful, and having an intention, and not having an intention to fix, or not having an intention to inspire, having an intention to be the example, the ultimate example. And what am I an example of? Source itself. The sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. Be the example of source itself. And this is a far cry from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And how does that look? How does that look? I was visiting some friends a couple of weeks ago. And the conversation looks like never scratch that. Practicing not having a judgment, practicing not having an agenda, practicing being aware of everything that comes out of my mouth. Living consciously and living in a state of pause before responding, pausing before because there's a difference between reacting to life and responding to life. And responding to life requires conscious thought. And reacting to life is just a program, is just a automatic go into behavior mode without any kind of it's a takeover. It's a takeover. When I say the mind or the ego takes over, it's a takeover. It's an identity takeover. And this today's show is on another level of and what do I want to say? Another level of understanding, another level of existence. There is a level of existence where, back and forth and chatter, but there's also a level of being quiet and aware and responding. Number one, without taking anything personally. Number two, without taking anything seriously. Also, not having any expectations, practicing in the present moment. Is this the present moment? This week, I had a quote unquote breakthrough. For I don't know how many decades I've been held hostage by stupid questions. I've been held hostage by people, whether it's customer service, whether it's people in my life, whether it's family, whether it's friends, asking stupid questions. Stay with me. And when Rebecca feels or believes that the question is obvious and the question is stupid, and why are you even asking that? And the question is a program. What happens to Rebecca, what happens to this identity is instant irritation, instant resistance, an instant analyzing. Well, you're not even realizing what you're saying. You're just barking out things just robotically. You're just coming up with something to say. Hi, how are you doing? How's your day? How's your weekend? Anything fun planned for the weekend? On Monday, how was the weekend? That type of conversation. And that type of conversation, that mindless chatter, used to, and I'm going to say used to, it used to cause a resistance, a automatic resistance. It's a trigger, it's a button until last week. And I have to say that whatever you resist, let me just ask you this question. Do you think you are going to experience more happiness, more contentment, more peace if you're resisting in the moment, or if you are accepting and surrendering in all moments? And it really comes down to accepting and surrendering. So let me share with you what happened. Oh gosh, it was overwhelming, mind-blowing. And I'm going to preface it by saying that this behavior has been going on for decades. I've lived in 3 states, California, Oregon, now I'm in Nevada. This behavior has been going on in 3 separate states for decades. And if you've ever gone into a bank, the old-fashioned way, if you've ever gone into the bank, the first question is, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Is there anything else I can help you with? Just constant questions over and over. And so forever, Rebecca, and I'm going to just point at her, Rebecca has been resisting, even to the point of just walking in a bank is, please don't ask me any stupid questions. Oh, here come the stupid questions. Except for a few days ago. I've been asking the universe how do I, hey, welcome to 2026, another lap around the sun. So listen to this one, Jay. Listen to this one if you're still here. One of my things, one of Rebecca's issues, buttons, is going into the bank and hearing the questions. Hi, how are you? How's your day going? It's 9 a.m., 8:30 a.m. I've already talked about this, but I just want to say that this dilemma for decades has been able to push my buttons for decades. Stupid questions. Again, it's not personal, but it's beyond being personal. It's the why are you asking a program question? In fact, even to the end, if you notice, anyone in customer service at the end of any kind of interaction, they always ask this question now, which is there anything else I can help you with? Now it seems like a vanilla question, how could that be harmful? Is there anything else I can help you with? But hearing it thousands of times over decades and just having in my head that, well, that's just a program. Why can't they just say something original instead of this programmed a script? But again, it's my problem that that Rebecca has a problem accepting, that Rebecca has the problem with a script, that Rebecca has a problem with programmed people that can't do anything else other than what they're programmed to do. No, Rebecca has a problem with that. And here we go. The first question was, of course, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing well. How are you doing? And again, I've been asking the universe, how do I let go of reacting to resisting what Rebecca perceives is a stupid question? I don't know how this is even sounding. I mean, we all have something. This is one of Rebecca's. And when I identify with Rebecca, when I identify with that person that is always triggered, except for this one day last week. And apparently, the only thing I can say is that the universe graced me. The universe graced Rebecca. The universe graced me with this. As soon as he asked, how are you? I said without hesitation, I'm fine. How are you? And as soon as he asked me, how's your day going? And it was 9 a.m. or 9:30. How's your day going? I said, it's going really well. How's your day going? And if you're like me, and you are, you can feel in your body when there is a resistance. You can feel in your body where there is a struggle to accept, where there is a struggle to accept the present moment. There is a little, not really, I don't want, and then after the morning, how's your morning going? I asked for money orders. Would you like an envelope for your money orders? Would you like an account of what's in your account? It was countless. There probably were at least 10 questions, and I have to say that was the first time. No joking, no exaggerating, because I do tend to joke and exaggerate at times. Full disclosure. That was the first time in my life where I answered every question without a thought of how stupid it was. And I was touched with grace to the point where in the middle of that interaction with the bank teller, I almost broke down and started crying. That's how peaceful that the universe, that's how peaceful the universe, God wanted me to feel after decades of feeling something different. My point is that things change, growth happens, another level of consciousness happens when it's time. And so before anything shifts, before energy shifts, or before a perspective shifts, the practice is to accept all of it. Accept everything, accept the responses, accept how the feelings, accept all of it without judging, without wanting anything to be different. Without judging. Ain't for the show yet. We ain't finished with the show yet. And I want to ask you, my dear audience, can you, if you feel inspired to share a time where you notice that there was a shift, a total energy shift, a total perspective shift, that something just, use words, released or relaxed or let go. When was that last time for you? When was the last time that something shifted that you were aware of, that it could be a shift in energy, it could be a peeling off a layer that is not needed or used? And so the ultimate practice in 2026, my ultimate practice in 2026, is to elevate from this humanness and ask the question, how would awareness respond? How would presence respond? How would God respond? How would the universe respond? And for the most part, the universe, this is my perspective, the universe responds, reacts, behaves whenever it's time, whenever it is time for it to shift or change, and not one moment sooner. Which reminds me, I'm glad you're still here. This video on YouTube is one of the most it is a succinct, it shares what happens with the brain, with the thoughts, with the interaction. And it's called, here we go. It's called, this is on YouTube, write this down. The moment you realize thoughts aren't yours, reality starts responding differently. The moment you realize thoughts aren't yours, reality starts responding differently. And it's about 35 minutes. It's on YouTube. The moment you realize thoughts aren't yours, reality starts responding differently. I highly recommend it. And in fact, I've listened to it probably 4 times already. I mean, it is very clear when how it describes how you are not your thoughts and you don't have control over your thoughts, and thoughts just come and go and come and go and come and go without any kind of control. So what it says is you are not your thoughts. And not only that, you are not responsible for your thoughts coming up or you even conjuring up a thought. It just does it automatically. It's what thoughts, it's the nature of thoughts. They just come and they just go. And it can be a variety of topics. And so the practice is to keep an empty head. And when the head isn't empty, which is most of the time, when the head isn't empty, the thoughts that keep coming in and out and in and out and in and out, not to put any, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, but here we go, 2026, this is it. Disassociating yourself with the thoughts, not identifying with the thoughts, letting go of all of the stories, all of the conclusions that make every bit of sense, that not only makes sense, there's evidence to prove all of the conclusions. Let it all go. It's time to start walking around with an empty head. Or at least practice having an empty head. And when I say empty, because it's never, the head is never empty, but there's a space, a small space between all the chatter. And the more I practice just honing on to that space or staying in that space, practicing staying in that space, there's going to be more. The more I practice, the more results happen. I don't even know what that means, Jay. Human digital communications is overriding. I don't know what that means. Anyway, you're always complicating everything. What does that mean? Human digital communications is overriding analog human communications. I'm really tech challenged. Back to the empty head. That's more my speed. Keep the head empty. The ultimate practice, in my humble, not so humble opinion, is to not identify with the thoughts, not identify with the mind. And in fact, it's not even my thoughts. It's the thoughts, the mind. And letting go of all of this my and I anyway. Because when I say if I say I, what I am I talking about? I mean, what I? The human I? No. I can't stress this enough to separate, scratch that, to be aware and practice separating yourself from this human. It really, what has happened is that the life, the whole journey, it just feels, number one, it feels slower. I know that's a story, but it just feels slower. Everything feels slower. And then there's less to do. When I say less to do, there's less to engage. There's less to, of course, there's always less to think about. But even when the thoughts come in, and they do, it's just like watching the clouds. I'm not a part of what's going on. I'm not a part. There's just too much turmoil. There's too much commotion. There's too much. It's just too much. Living in that place, in that space, living inside the head, living with all the thoughts. It's just, when I scratch that, it's not too much. It's a lot. How about that? It's not that it's too much. It's just a lot. And it's a lot of stimulation that isn't true, that isn't real, that is meaningless. Did I say meaningless? It isn't true. It isn't real. It is meaningless. Everything that everything that I thought was meaningful, everything that I thought was meaningful 5 years ago is meaningless today. Everything that I thought was meaningful 10 years ago, 20 years ago, meaningless today. Meaningless. Everything eventually becomes the the only thing that puts meaning on something is the individual itself, is the individual himself or herself. And when a programmed person puts meaning to something that is meaningless, I need to write that down. That is the state of the world. When programmed people put meaning to things that are perceived and are judged to be meaningful. Question. So, who are you if you are not your thoughts? And who are you if you're not your stories? It's what I've been saying. You are presence itself. You are presence. You are awareness. You are beyond this human. But the majority of people, it's just not time for them to understand and or get this message. It's just not time. They'll get it in another at another time, but it's just not time. And that's the practice, is to allow and to accept and to be okay with and to embrace all of it, even though other people may not be able to relate to what I'm talking about. Scratch the may. Other people cannot relate to what I'm talking about. And that is another level. Some are so programmed. The program is so deep that whatever a person believes, like I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying that they're impatient. I'm so impatient. I've always been impatient and I'm very impatient. And that's such a deep belief. And then I just said, "No, you're not. You're not impatient. There may be times when, in fact, what is impatient anyway? But there may be times that you are impatient. But just to blanketly say that you are impatient is not a true statement, because there are times when everyone can be patient. If you're holding a baby, if you're holding a newborn, you're not yelling at the newborn to hurry up and grow and hurry up and grow some teeth and hurry up and start feeding yourself and start walking and start talking and get the hell out of the house anyway at 18. There is patience with the growth of a baby. There is patience with a puppy. There is patience with there are moments that a person can be patient, even if they're labeling themselves impatient. And so you going back to the beliefs, and it still goes back to the unconscious beliefs that the program is so convincing. I'm not going to give myself a description anymore. Scratch the because. I'm not going to give to provide a description anymore. Why? Because I can be anything at any time. I can be anything at any time. And if I can be anything at any time, so can you. There's no fitting inside a box. There's no describing and fitting and just this is who I am. No, you're more than who you are. You're more than the program. You are more. All of us are. But again, everybody isn't going to get it. Let me just look at my notes for a second here. The the last thing I want to touch on is one of the biggest challenges that I find is the very few people, scratch that. Scratch the biggest challenges. One of the things that I find is there are very few people who are ready, ripe, able, open to hear this message. And the only reason why I scratch where I used to have it used to be a challenge is wanting everyone to, don't you get it? Uh, Not only don't you get it, but come on, this is as clear. This is as clear as day. It's like just it's like putting all the evidence of, I don't even want to use that reference. It's like having all of the evidence, all the forensic evidence of someone, and you know that they're the culprit, they're the perpetrator. All of the evidence, from fingerprint evidence to circumstantial evidence to blood splatter evidence. I know I'm going way off on that. I'm just thinking of forensic files. Even with all of the evidence, if it's not time for someone to understand, or if it's not time for someone to comprehend, if it's not time for someone else to have the light bulb go on, and it's just not going to be time. And the practice is acceptance of others. And the practice is to know that everyone is at a different level, not only of understanding and comprehension, but of study, of interest, of inspiration, just a different level. And what I can do, or what I can practice, is just being an example of what I'm sharing on this show, which is unconditional acceptance, unconditional acceptance, unconditional trust, being at peace with uncertainty, trusting that this whole plan is serving me at the highest level. And if it's serving me at the highest level, it's serving you at the highest level. Yeah, for most people, it's not clear. And that's the challenge, going out into this world with most people. That is the challenge. However, that can remain a challenge, or it can morph into, shift into, it's like going to a party. It's like going to a party. I'm thinking about where I live. I live in a community with seniors now. And you have people that are in their 90s, in their 80s, in their 70s, and then of course they bring their children who are in their 40s, and they bring their grandchildren who are in their 10s, who are 10, 8. It's like having a room full of people of all different ages, from birth to 100 or 105. Let's say 105. Birth to 105. Well, everybody is not going to comprehend at the same level. And that's what it's like going out into this world. There's nothing wrong with the 2-year-old. There's nothing wrong with the 5-year-old. There's nothing wrong with the 90-year-old. It's just a different Everybody is at a different place of comprehending. And quite frankly, if they are not chosen, meaning if God hasn't chosen a person to be awakened or open, or it's time to get it, it's just not going to happen. I mean, poor Jesus, he was at another level where most people weren't. He was talking crazy. It's the same. And it is that challenge of acceptance. However, there is an acceptance. There is an acceptance, and in fact, I'll share another story. There is someone in my life that loves to talk about yesterday. I mean, that's all they do. Yesterday, 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 yesterday. I mean, I heard stories about high school, and we're in our 60s and 70s. High school. And they were telling me this high school story, and I can either do two things, well, more than two things, but I could listen with curiosity, love, acceptance, interest, or I can listen with, God, all you do is talk about yesterday. Who the hell cares about what happened to you in high school? You have zero self-awareness. You see the difference? There is a difference that God graced me, thank God, because for the longest it was this underneath thinking and judging and oh gee, look at them, no awareness. And I heard a long time ago that the spiritual people are the most judgmental. I think that may be right. I don't know, but back to it. And I could feel the difference. And when I can listen with love and acceptance, it always comes from self first. And that goes for you too. When whatever you can give to others, know that you've given that to yourself first. When you stop judging others, you've stopped judging self. When you stop judging self, you stop judging others. When you start accepting self, you can accept others. It always starts with the person in the mirror. Oh, look at this. Okay, here we go, my dear, wonderful J-Man. That is the reason the human collective is not moving forward. And he capitalized not. And put your seatbelt on. That is one perspective, and that is not true. Who is saying that the human collective is not moving forward? What does moving forward mean? That means it's not moving forward in your eyes, in your human eyes. It's not moving forward. But would God say that? The human is not moving forward. No, everything is evolving. Everything is evolving the way it's supposed to. Everything is in order. The human collective is not moving forward. That's even a program. I love you. That's a programmed statement. Especially making a judgment, not only statement, that's a judgment. It's not moving forward. See, you say that it's not moving forward. Scratch that. Your mind says that. That's why we can't rely on it. And in fact, I'll give you an example. When this isn't my example. This is someone that's divorced. There are a lot of different ways to look at it, different perspectives. Oh, that was the greatest thing that ever happened to her because he was mean, and he was mean. He used to yell at her, hit her, Now, divorce is the best thing that happened, or divorce for another reason, but now it's a sad reason. It's a divorce. Someone left someone else. My point is, that's one perspective. Anytime there is just one perspective, anytime that the mind only offers you one perspective, run the other way. It's not the truth. It is really a practice to pay attention to how many perspectives the mind only offers you. And Jay, I'm going to say that is the reason human collective is not moving forward. That one perspective is coming from the mind, and it is not the truth. It is a perspective. It's one perspective, but it's not the ultimate truth. Very relevant point. This is still not clear for many. Jay, leave these people alone. It's not about anybody else. It's about the person in the mirror. Not your time. Person in the mirror. Only concern yourself with the person in the mirror and be the example, be the energetic example. This is not clear for many people. No, it's not. Well, let me say this. I get it, because I say that the 98% of the population is programmed, which is the truth. Population programmed beliefs, programmed thoughts. It's the programming that makes everything that's causing the suffering. In this book, 56 program behaviors is on program behaviors. 56. I'm up to 58 now. One of the program behaviors is, I'm going to say it loud, stay out of everybody else's business. Unless they ask you to question, stay out of everybody else's business. Stay out of everybody else's business. Their business is not my business. Their business is God's business. Their business is the universe's business. Stay out of everybody else's business. And when you're in somebody else's business, guess where you're not? Guess where you're not when you're in everybody else's business? You're not in the mirror. Let these people go. Leave these people alone. These people are fine. They'll get through it. They'll get through it. Yes, that's right. That's right. It is a trust issue. And then what do you trust? And you know what? You don't even have to believe in God. You don't even have to believe in the universe. You don't even believe in higher power. Trust what? Trust that, in fact, looking back on life, and we usually don't go back, but looking back, everything happens. Just look at the creation of this planet, which has been destroyed I don't know how many times. Frozen, fire, dinosaurs. It has had so many different stages of destruction. And looking back at it, wow, the whole place was destroyed. And now look at it. And it is a constant. This world is this community, global community, is a constant evolving, constant, including human evolvement, conscious evolvement. It is constant. In fact, I believe that there's going to be a time, who knows, that you'll be able to speak without using words. You'll be able to, you can feel people's energy now, but you'll be able to communicate without using words. There will be, well, who knows, but there will be a way to energetically communicate. In fact, that's there already. You can communicate with somebody energetically, even if they're in the same room. I mean, Jay, we have a communication that's all energy. Let me see if I can tap in. Yeah. So it is a trust It's trust level. And so look at the world and look how it has evolved. And I'm not even talking about making a judgment about what has evolved, from technology to medical improvements to, in fact, I remember my mother-in-law talking about when she had children, they would lock her in a room in the hospital and she would be in dark for 3 days. And now they kick you out as soon as you pop the baby out, you're out. Get out of the hospital, get out. So what I'm saying is there's always some kind of growth and evolving. Everything is always evolving. So this thing about human collective is not moving forward, that's just not a true statement. So so be mindful of what the mind wants you to believe and what is the truth. I will never rely on the mind, scratch the mind. I will never rely on the mind for truth. Never, unless I'm figuring out some kind of math question or some kind of I'm adding, H to O to oxygen, and I'm trying to figure that out. But other than that, I am not letting this mind come up with a conclusion, a theory, an analysis. Why? Because it's all programmed and it's not true and it's very limited. And I say, break out of that limitation, break out of the mind, break out and tell the mind, I'm not you, you're not me. And that's the way it's going to be. Lord have mercy. Don't let me start getting silly. I'm not you, you're not me. And that's the way it's going to be. I am not mind. I am not the thoughts. I am not the stories. The ultimate practice in 2026 is practice identifying with awareness itself, God itself, presence itself. And then the practice of staying in the moment. That means that there's no discussion about yesterday. There's no discussion about tomorrow unless you're planning on getting on a plane. In fact, one of my relatives asked me a while ago, so what happened? Well, how was your summer? Or how was your 4th of July? It was a month later. And then I said, I don't do recaps. I don't recap. I don't. Well, yesterday how was your Christmas? How was your New Year? Huh? It was fine. It was great. Sound a little triggered. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Communicating. All right. So the ultimate practice in 2026, wrapping everything up. What time is it? Ooh, 55 minutes of yakking, wrapping everything up. The ultimate practice in 2026 is to identify less with what the mind says and just identify more and lean into your consciousness, your spirit. Lean into your energy, lean into what you can't touch or explain, lean into what you can't define, lean into identifying with that. Digital dystopia has distorted. So leave it alone. So what? Stop it. Stop it. That's a conclusion. That's a conclusion coming from a theory, using all the evidence. I'm telling you right now. Practice. not even coming up with any conclusions. Practice. Tell the mind you're not going to entertain it anymore. And you're very bright too, Jay. You're a bright guy. You're bright. Usually a real bright one. I mean, I ain't stupid, but I ain't as bright as you. I'm resourceful. I ain't stupid, but I ain't as bright as you. That's really funny. Anyway, back to the show, which is over. The show is over. And again, I challenge you to question all of your statements. I used to call them bold statements. I challenge you to question all of the statements and the conclusions made. I just a little small challenge. Or not. The ultimate practice in 2026 is to identify with anything other than mind. No, not anything other. Identify with awareness. Okay, that's enough. That's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening to Reality Spirituality. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on X at RL Norrington. I'm on LinkedIn, Rebecca Norrington. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel, like and subscribe. YouTube channel, I have a few. I'm really happy with the way that the YouTube channel is growing. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. However, my latest book, Program for Unhappiness, is on Amazon. It was out in 2024. And 2 new books. The third book is going to be called Questions, Answers, and Quotes. And the 4th book is going to be called, I haven't come up with a subtitle yet. And the 4th book is going to be called Relationship. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You are conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting every moment. Be your own best friend. And remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, Rebecca L. Norrington, happiness specialist. Remember, happiness skills, and not skills, a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find, and your experience in every moment while on this journey reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. And you know what? Getting back to all of that. Yeah, I challenge you to question those statements that are believed to be true. They're just one perspective. One perspective is not truth. Especially a description, and especially a conclusion, unless it's science, unless it's DNA. Okay, queuing up theme song. Let's go 2026. Woohoo! I mean, woohoo! That's right, practice. It's all about the practice. Shout out to Allen Iverson. Practice? What do you mean about practice? You're talking about practice. That's right. Practice. Happiness is a practice skill. Not try, not work, practice.